What's up, Toy Fam, and welcome back to another episode of your Totally Cool YouTube channel. Today, we're taking you back to Cybertron, specifically the War for Cybertron. Now, you may recall that the War for Cybertron is a popular trilogy, a retake or a revisit of that particular era in Cybertronian history on Netflix. Featured the Siege season, you have the Earthrise season, and then you have the Kingdom season. So it's a War for Cybertron, and there's no better way to kick off this series when we review the toys from this particular trilogy than to show you and review and unbox and get our hands on the first commander class that came out for the War for Cybertron, no other than the leader of the Seekers, Jetfire. Now, in the War for Cybertron series, Jetfire is the leader of the Seekers. We'll get into his history and character profile once we unbox him. But to give you a brief background, Jetfire was not always Jetfire. He was Skyfire in the Generation 1 series, as represented by this particular figure. This is the Skyfire masterpiece, and he's a representation of the Generation 1 iteration. Love both figures. We'll do an in-depth character and toy review as we proceed through this episode, but let's not prolong the agony, and let's take a closer look. So, Jetfire. I've been waiting a long time to open this, and just looking at the box, let's look at the box first. He has a look that has never been seen in the G1 cartoons before. Looks like he has a mask on, but the box art is just amazing. Okay, now there are two versions of this. This is the Hasbro release. There is also a Takara Tomy release, and how you would know is that if there's Japanese characters at the bottom here. Okay, so let's look at the front. That's Jetfire. Basically, this is a Cybertron at the back. There's Omega Supreme, which kind of forecasts or gives you a premonition that Omega Supreme will also be released. So, and he was as the Titan class for this particular toy line. On the right, it shows the arc of the Autobots, and it says Commander Class, which is what Jetfire is. He is the Commander Class figure for the War for Cybertron Siege line, as well as he's the only Commander Class for that line, just like Skylynx is for Earthrise and Rodimus Prime is for Kingdom. This is the Commander Class for Siege. On the left, you see the all too familiar box art for War for Cybertron. It shows the arc leaving Cybertron, trying to preserve the Cybertronian way of life. On the upper part of Jetfire, you would see Seekers, so the other Seekers, the Tetra Seekers that he used to be a part of. We'll get to that a little bit later. And on the back, we see, it's such a good figure. It just looks hefty. Just looking at the box art, looking at the photo. So inside, he comes with combat weapons and even some blast effects. That's Jetfire in the plane mode. And that's Jetfire in the robot mode, in the battle mode, and there's just Jetfire in the, this is combat ready Jetfire, and this is just regular woke up for breakfast Jetfire. So, that's the box. Let's look inside, let's open him up. Okay. This is very exciting. I have waited for this moment for a while. I've had this toy for about a couple of years, and Ain't easy pulling him out. And ta-da! Bye-bye box. And just wow. Just wow. The white, although there have been, I mean, right now, to be honest with you, there have been some issues. I've seen some reviews where they've seen yellowing on the shoulders, they've seen yellowing on the leg. Okay, so that's something that we were trying to look for, but he's been in the box for a few years now, and so far, nothing. So you have Jetfire, and it looks like if I do take him out of the box, I can't put him back because you have plastic ties, unlike the other ones where you have the paper ones. But right out of the gate, you see the blast effects in plastic wrapper here, and then you have the weapons all over the box, and you even have the chest piece that makes him a little bit more imposing, although he is already a very sturdy figure. Like he's really I'm a plane and I have got attitude kind of figure. That makes him even bulkier, and you got cannons and blasters all over the place. So just blink and I'll free him up. Now he is free to fly the skies and destroy Decepticons. He is now out of his box, and he is even more impressive out of his box. Just looking at him, all that white, although I can now see that there are some parts of him that's starting to yellow, and that's not just because of the lighting, and this is because of a production issue with the plastic that they use. So it's a little bit of yellowing over here, over there, some over the leg, mostly on the shoulder. But honestly, I wouldn't care. The way he looks, the way he stands, just right here, standing right beside me. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Okay, now before we go into this, what was inside the box? Wait, where is the manual? There's the manual. Okay, came with a manual. Every Transformer does. Teaches you how to transform him. It says age 8 and above. So this is a little bit more complicated, more advanced. He is WFC S28. So he is the 28th figure in the Siege line from the War for Cybertron trilogy. Now, let's do backstory. Jetfire used to be called Skyfire in the first 5 episodes of the Transformers animation. He used to be called Skyfire, and the character background, he was a dedicated scientist back in Cybertron. He was best friends with Starscream, you know that guy, the guy who laughs and tries to take over the Decepticons from Megatron. They used to be best friends until they went on a mission to Earth. For some reason, they went on an exploration mission, and then he got lost, and then he got stuck in ice, pretty much like Captain America. He got stuck in ice, and when a few millennia later, the Transformers came to Earth, and they were revived with Teletran 1, giving them alternate modes, they found him. I'm not sure if it's the North Pole or the South Pole. He was stuck in ice, and they defrosted him, and when he came about, he saw Starscream. And because they used to be best friends, he used to remember how they flew together, they explored together. They thought, Starscream's the same guy. Fortunately, he found out later on Starscream was not the same guy, and he was part of the evil group called the Decepticons. Eventually, he found out he wasn't for the Decepticon way of life, so he changed and joined up with the Autobots. Now, this particular toy line is from the War for Cybertron Siege. His character arc is pretty similar. He was the leader of the Seekers, okay? He was the leader of the Seekers, and he was the fastest, the most advanced Seeker because he always tried to invent and reinvent himself and improve himself. And being a scientist, he evolved. He tried to make upgrades and put it on himself. So he was the most advanced, the most the fastest probably for all the Seekers, until he had again, just like his G1 character arc, he had a bit of conscience attack when he realized that Megatron from that particular animated series was not the hero and the leader that he thought he was. So eventually, Jetfire, he's Jetfire in that particular series, decided he's had enough of being a Decepticon. He wants to join the Autobots and stop Megatron from whatever evil plans he has. Now, that's the character. So the similarity in the character arc from the G1 and the War for Cybertron is almost the same. You know, aside from the nuance that he's the leader of the Seekers in War for Cybertron. Now, this is a very controversial toy. For those of you who know, Transformers came from the Diaclone toy line from Takara, which was then brought to the US by Hasbro, where they created the cartoon with Marvel, and then they came up with the characters, the names Megatron, Optimus Prime, and all of that. This guy used to be Jetfire. Skyfire, the first 5 episodes. Now, the reason why he was changed into Jetfire was pretty ambiguous, but he was voiced by Greg Berger, the same guy who voiced Grimlock, and we've featured Grimlock, the Robosen Grimlock. We'll do another feature on Grimlock, but enough about that. Voiced by Greg Berger in the G1. What's interesting about this guy, the mold did not come from Diaclone. He was actually he was not from Takara, and he was actually from the Macross Super Valkyrie line. That's why if you would look at this picture that I'll be posting here, he looked like the Macross robot. Plane that turns into a robot, where he could do a Jer walk. When I say Jer walk, he's got his legs out, but he's got the plane on the upper part. He used to do that in the G1 until I believe it was Bandai or whatever toy company decided to say, hey, that's our property. He's not Transformers. He's not Takara, because Hasbro used to buy different properties from different companies, and they put them together. So this was caught in the crossfire. That's why he was changed. His name was changed from Jetfire, from Skyfire to Jetfire, and eventually you would see in future episodes that he could no longer do the Jer walk, where he would have his legs out, but he would also have the plane part of him as the upper part, or the upper torso, where he doesn't. It's more sort of like an incomplete transformation. So that is Jetfire. Let's stick to Jetfire for now. What's inside the box, you ask me? His aerial armor and a couple of cannons. I don't know what they're called. I'll put them somewhere in the comments, or somewhere here. A couple of cannons. I think you can put them on the wrist. Yep, amazing. Just imposing. Now you can put this on the other wrist. And if you would recall how amazing Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker looked with their arm cannons, this harkens back to that look. And this one's even menacing because you've got 2 cannons per arm. Okay, not to mention his own separate blaster, which looks like something that came out of a science fiction novel. Yeah, and they split into 2. Okay, so 1 for each hand. There's a handle, looks like an M60 machine gun. So you got the blasters on the cannon, on the arm, and then you've got the machine guns on the hands. I mean, honestly, who can be a match for Jetfire, right? So I won't put this on the other hand. He's too well armed. Okay. Now, with all of these features, all of these attachments, all of these weaponry, what I've always been a fan of when it came to Jetfire, when he was in the G1 cartoons, and then also following the arc in the War for Cybertron Siege series, was how he voluntarily said, I no longer stand by the Decepticons and I would like to join the Autobots. A key feature of this particular toy, which I love, and I mean, Hasbro, Takara Tomy, amazing job on this one. Remember that episode where he removed the Decepticon emblem from his chest and replaced it with an Autobot emblem? It does the same thing here. Okay? It's pretty tricky. It's a small... You just need to push it a little bit and then flip it. It takes a little bit of pressure. But then you're almost there. Okay, so he starts off as a Decepticon with the purple on white. And then you can flip him back, flip him to an Autobot, as was his choice. That's just amazing detail work right there. Now this figure is about 12 to 13 inches, about a foot, a ruler's length. But the heft that he brings to the table is just mind-blowing. The weaponry is sophisticated, especially if you look at this battle armor, where if you open it, the chest piece, you can actually get the hidden mask or battle mask, which you can then place on him, which makes an already imposing figure even more spectacular. Now, watch out for the next video where we transform him to his alt mode. But in terms of how I like this figure, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. There is no regret in opening the box. Now, let's go down to the rating. We've talked about the history, we've talked about the character, we've talked about his wonderful, change of heart. Let's talk about the toy. 13 inches of awesomeness, right there. In terms of playability, I'd give him a 4 out of 5. Now, it does say that it takes 36 steps to transform him. It takes a little bit more if it's your first time doing so. But the more you transform him, the better you get at it, the easier it gets. G1 appeal, I'd give it a 5 out of 5. Now, if we remove the helmet, okay, remove the helmet, we remove this, we even remove all of the attachments, just the toy itself. It really brings you back to 1986, where he was frozen out, where he was defrosted from ice, thawed from ice, and he starts flying with Starscream. Just love him. The alt mode is also G1 accurate, so 5 out of 5. Desk appeal. How he stands on your desk, how he stands on your shelf. Probably the best commander class. People may argue, but for me, probably the best commander class from the War for Cybertron. He's even better than Rodimus, and he's way better than Skylynx, I think. Now, for those of you who would not agree with me, I respect your opinion, but for me, this being so reminiscent of childhood memories, just, it's just so different. It's just so different and yet so familiar. In terms of playability, in terms of the toys' quality, I like the fact that it uses a lot of ratchet joints, because ratchet joints create stability. There's a ratchet joint on the hip, there's a ratchet joint on the knee, there's even some movement on the heel, okay? Ratchet joints on the shoulders, both out and up and down. The only hinge that does not have a ratchet joint is the head, okay? The others, transformation, quite complicated, you know, but with the follow the manual, and eventually it will become simple. The only thing I don't like about this, again, is the yellowing because of the plastic, but that's not something you can do much about, because it's a manufacturing issue. So overall, toy quality, toy quality, it's a 4.5 out of 5. This is going to be probably one of the highest rated figures that we've ever unboxed. So I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5, maybe, overall rating. But overall and in totality, plus these attachments, it's just a wonder to play with. It's just something you would love to play with on hours on end. And we would like to show you more, so watch out for the next video where we do the transformation guide and we play around with him a little bit. And that ends our toy review of Jetfire, the Warfare Cybertron Siege Commander class Jetfire. Hope we can see you on our next episode where we do the transformation. In the meantime, thank you for watching. By the way, hit on like if you like this episode, click on subscribe, and hit the bell button to be notified for future episodes. For now, we thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you on our next episode, and happy collecting.